independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
This whole thing would be a farce, if it weren't so serious. The fact is that there was never any evidence that the president colluded with anybody. There's no evidence in 428 pages. There's no evidence that the president in any way obstructed anything. Mueller got to see everybody he wanted to see, except the president himself, and the president agreed to submitting written questions and answers.
Oh, my Lord. Would it be a farce? This is the way I look at this. If Hillary was president, this would be the same thing, except going deeper probably into impeachment. Going deeper into impeachment because they would have had the House, they would have had the Senate. Right now, Nancy Pelosi has the toughest job in D.C., which is keeping the ravenous wolves at the bay at the door by just giving them enough meat, throwing enough things around, discussing with people, playing the political game that she has to play, and at the same time temper that with the fact that the public isn't really into the idea of impeachment. And if you're a Democrat and you're running for president, you want him impeached. If you're a Democrat and you hate Trump, you think, oh, this would be a great idea. If you're an average Democrat who's just going about their day in and day out, you're saying to yourself, I got better things to do. And if you turn him into a sympathetic figure, which is what happens. If you go and look what happened with Ken Starr and what happened to the Republicans after they impeached Clinton, he became a sympathetic figure. He rose by, 12-15% in popularity, and the Republicans essentially went the same direction, like 10% down. So think about that for a second. So more investigations, if you're going to be her. Drag it on as long as you possibly can. But if you start the impeachment process and you go through with it, there's a good chance that you guys are going to end up looking like Charlie Brown trying to kick the football away from Lucy, and you're going to land on your ass.
Mueller had lots and lots of lawyers, virtually all of them anti-Trump, very smart lawyers, very good prosecutors from very expensive law firms. And after 2 years, what do they got? And the most startling thing, if anybody wants to know how sick the system got, it's Mueller's assertion that he couldn't exonerate Trump. That is exactly the opposite of the American system. In the absence of proof of guilt, somebody's automatically innocent. We don't have to walk around every day proving we're innocent. That's our birthright as Americans. It's the duty of the state to prove we're guilty. And clearly, Mueller could not do that.
Here's the thing with Mueller, and this is, Ken Starr, he faced the same situation, right? And he came out and said, yeah, here's all the things he's guilty of. Now it's up to you guys to go do something, right? Now it's up to you. You go do something. But this is it right here. This is what I'm telling you he did wrong. I'm, not so much choosing a side. I'm just telling you this is what he did wrong. So it's up to you now, though, to go through with it. And Mueller didn't do that. Mueller did not do that. And now we're in a situation where we're going to be talking about this continuously with the I may just impeach, I may not impeach, we may impeach, we may not. How long do you want to see this go on for? Tom Perez, right? Guy runs the DNC. He came out, right? Here's a guy you would think, right? He wants him gone. He wants him. Of course he does. But you know what he said?
The only way to remove Donald Trump from office is going to be at the ballot box.
Wait, what? Aren't you on board with it all? Isn't it that what this is about? It's the way to remove him. You're saying the ballot box, but they're saying we need to impeach.
There's an undeniable culture of corruption, and the way our system is structured, the only way to remove him, given the makeup of the United States Senate, is going to be at the ballot box.
Then do it that way, and I think most people want to see it done that way. You look at several polls across the board, they all kind of point to about 70% of people don't want to see impeachment proceedings whatsoever. They just want to move on from this and let it go, let it go, let it go. Win in November of next year. That's it. Win in November of next year. And what happens if you do try to impeach and you know you're going to lose in the Senate, so it's a waste of time? Then you get the Senate let's say in November of next year. So you'd have the House and the Senate. And at this point in time, you're sitting around there going, well, we've already done it once. If we do it twice, is America going to turn on us like you can't believe? Right? Well, you can't do it twice. Oh, they'll come up with some way to do something. They'll find something new. It's a tough position, Nancy. It is a tough position. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So, Trump today, there's a big kerfuffle about the USS John McCain and his recent visit to Asia and Memorial Day, and that somehow it was removed, the ship, or was told to be put somewhere else, so it wasn't a part of it, like John McCain is the ship, or cover it up. And, here's the kerfuffle in the world that we live in now.
Somebody did it because they thought I didn't like them, okay? And they were well-meaning, I will say. I didn't know anything about it. I would never have done that.
Everything is drama with him. Everything is drama, right? And this is it. And I was talking to producer Alonso earlier, and I said to him, okay, so this is the way it works. If the USS McCain is behind him when he's speaking, the media will draw massive attention to it. If it's not there, the media is going to draw massive attention to it. It's a no-win situation, of which he created a good portion of this. Let's be real. He created a very good amount of this craziness. But it is a no-win situation. The other thing is he tweeted out something today that, and then he had to somewhat clarify that.
You know who got me elected? I got me elected. Russia didn't help me at all.
Russia didn't help you at all, but you tweeted out today something about that. And in your tweet, you said, Russia, Russia, Russia. That's all you heard at the beginning of the witch hunt hoax. And now Russia has disappeared because I had nothing to do with the Russians helping me get elected. Ah, God. It's just never, ever, ever, ever ending. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Last night at a baseball game in Houston, the Cubs were taking on the Astros, and Albert Almora Jr. stepped up to the plate, and you can listen to the announcers, and just you can hear the crowd, and then you can hear him in agony.
Baltimore, he had a tough go of it last season, or 2 seasons ago, in Baltimore. Oh, look out, people.
Yeah, he was screaming, oh, my God. He hit a ball that was an absolute bullet into the crowd and hit a little girl. No update on her status right now, but he was devastated. In fact, they had to pull him off the field. He collapsed to his knees, and they had to have the security guard. He was in tears. He was inconsolable, and it brings up the question again. You go to these sporting events, right? And you take not your life in your own hands, but there is something there. You go to a baseball game, and they've already got netting. The hockey games have netting. We had a few years ago, I think it was in Nashville, where we had a little girl killed at a game when a puck flew out. And it wasn't even one of those shots that was like 100 miles an hour. It was a deflection, flew into the crowd. But they're asking the question again because Major League Baseball's facing a ton of lawsuits over foul balls. Like, how far do you take the net? What do? Do you move the net down all the way to the foul pole? But watching him last night, and part of the fun of going to Major League Baseball or any baseball game like that is, you make it a foul ball. I'll make it a foul ball. That might be cool. But it comes off the bat, and look, every game, there's 1 or 2 that come off the bat at 100 miles an hour. And they go into a crowd, right? And they're coming at, your mom or your grandma or your 7-year-old child or the 37-year-old accountant who loves baseball, but he's an actuary because he can't catch or throw, and he's standing there with his mitt, and it's coming at him. And he was just I mean, last night, he didn't even know. He was just devastated. They talked to him after the game.
I don't know. It's all my teammates, Joe, everybody came out and obviously tried to talk to me. And obviously, I didn't want that to happen, and I didn't intend for that to happen. And then credit to Miley as well, came to me and said, try to calm me down.
Yeah, there was just nothing they could do, and they're going to have to figure something out because it is dangerous, right? You got a bunch of unathletic people watching a sporting event with a ball coming off the bat, and you're not going to be able to protect everybody. But this was literally the net goes around from the one part of the dugout all the way to the other side of the dugout. So from basically first to third, and this thing flew in the crowd just around that. And he's just, destroyed. And, man, it was awful. It was awful to see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So much stuff to get to today. We're going to try to cram it all in for you. You can text the program. Got a question for you. Should they impeach Trump? If you're the Democrats, should you do it? Is now the time you do it? Or do you continue just to drag out investigation after investigation, try to weaken him rather than make him a sympathetic figure, knowing you're not going to be able to impeach him? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. My pillow, man, I slept so amazing last night. I did. I had about 6.5 hours of sleep, and it was incredible. I got my premium pillow. You can get yours, not one, but two, for less than $70. That's right. For my listeners right now, something amazing My Pillow is doing. And it's risk-free. It's 60-day money-back guarantee, so you got nothing to lose. It's a limited time. You got to get this now. Made in the USA, 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry your pillows, and you get a 60-day money-back guarantee. It is only $34.99 per pillow. You get two My Pillows for less than $70. It's the lowest price ever with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Get yours today. Go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975. Make sure you use promo code Benson. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Deal this.
Mueller, arrest me.
Chad will trade you 2 perjury charges for 1 collusion and throw in a reduced charge of obstruction for free.
Yeah, I'd do that.
For just listening to The Chad Benson Show.
First, it was grocery bags, and then straws. Now, anti-plastic advocates are going after your tiny hotel room shampoo and conditioner bottles. California's State Assembly giving a thumbs up to a bill that would ban hotels from automatically offering up those miniature complimentary shower products with the goal of reducing the use of plastics. If the state Senate passes it and the governor signs it, the ban would go into effect in 2023. Hotel chains, including Marriott, support the bill. Marriott saying it would save 250 pounds of plastic every year.
Whew, thank God. I was really worried about that. Chad, aren't you environmentally friendly? Yeah, but I like my free stuff, right? I travel a lot, so I'm not going to lie to you. I'm in a hotel 2-3 nights a week, doing a lot of traveling from work, all that. I like the goodies. I'm not gonna lie to you. Pay a lot of money for hotels. I like goodies. I do. I like the goodies. I was trying to tell Phil, I'm like, so, and think about this. You're a shampoo company, and you this is part of your advertising. Marriott may be fine with it, but the other people who make the shampoos and the little travel size things, they may not be thrilled with it, but at least California's doing its part, right? Just doing your part, California. Got rid of plastic bags, but we made it worse. Got rid of straws because a 9-year-old said it was a good thing to do with no basis in reality. And now we're getting rid of our shampoos and our free goodies, for God's sakes. And not free because we paid for them. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hey, kids, we haven't done this in a while. We're going to do it today because we love you. We'd like to give you a little something from the Chad Benson Show. It's something you can put right in your heart. It's called the Urban Word of the Day.
It's time for the Urban Word of the Day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban Word of the Day.
I heard one of the kids use this over the weekend, hanging out, enjoying ourselves. The hamster angle. And you're like, what's a hamster angle? Hamster angles, when you take a picture and you kind of got the big little bloated chin under there, it's not your best angle. You got duck face, right? And then you got hamster angle, and you're like, oh, God, that was my hamster angle. I can't believe I took that picture and she saw it or he saw it. It's not what I really look like, just like the other one's not what you really look like. But this one is not what you really look like in an ugly way. Hamster angle. Your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Once again, Google is releasing its list of the common words we seem to have trouble spelling, breaking down by state the most popular searches that begin with the query, how do you spell? In 8 states, it's the word beautiful. That leads the list for a second year in a row, but last year, 11 states weren't sure how to spell beautiful. How do you spell gray is the top spelling search in 3 states, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Washington. In other states, the queries are telling in other ways. In Louisiana, the top search is for the word indict. In Hawaii, they most often ask Google how to spell Hawaii.
How do I spell Hawaii? Because people are on vacation and they're sending postcards, you know, because for those of you who don't know what the postcard is like, it's something from the place you were at saying, hey, I was here. There you go. And you get the postcard. So people are probably trying to figure out, how do you spell Hawaii? Is there a 4 in there? I don't think there is. 323-538-2423. And you know what's funny is the ones he didn't mention, those are the dirty ones. Like, how do you spell? Yeah. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Got a poll up. Think Trump should be impeached? Or you think it's time that the Democrats start really looking at this? Tough, man. Nancy's in a tough position. She's in a very tough position. We will touch on that. Also, we'll ask the question, 2 years, millions of dollars, and what did we get for it? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Under long-standing department policy, a president cannot be charged with a federal crime while he is in office. That is unconstitutional.
So why did we even do it? If you knew you weren't going to charge him with anything, then why did we go down this path? That's the thing that I'm curious about. If we knew nothing was going to come of this at all, and you weren't going to, and he's like, well, we're going to preserve stuff, why people's memories. So we spent all of this money for you to be a data collector for history. I'm curious. Barr came out today and said, he could have come to a conclusion. Then he should have. Look, Ken Starr did, but he was an independent counsel. There's a separate thing. Independent counsel as opposed to a special counsel. A special counsel is part of essentially the White House. So it's like an internal investigation. But you could have come up with a conclusion, right? You could have said, I believe he obstructed justice, but we cannot indict. And then let it go from there. At least put people's mind on one side or the other as opposed to this bizarre thing that clears up nothing. Because what people want is they want parameters of what it's going to be. Like the abortion issue that's going on right now. Right? You've got all of these battles going on from state to state. When does life begin? When doesn't it begin? How are we going to go about defining this? The Roe v. Wade, as all of this stuff starts to happen and take place and ramps up, the battles are beginning. And you know what most people want? They want some sort of definition, right? We believe it is here. 12 weeks, 15 weeks is officially when we believe this is life. and that baby, that fetus, has protections. That's it. And then you could start to have the discussion. Then you could start to talk about things and have a debate. Same thing here. He could have come out and said, I believe, based on all the evidence that we've collected, that he, while there was no crime, obstructed that, even though I was allowed to go all the way till the end of this right here. I did the entire 2 years, all of the lawyers, everything, the millions of dollars spent, the time, the effort, all of this. I believe there was no underlying crime of collusion. Not that it's a crime, but collusion in any way, shape, or form. I believe that he did try to obstruct. Now you guys can do with it what you want, and then go from there. And at least we'd have gone, okay, it's better. It's better we know now. But instead, he just did, I don't really want to take a side. He went out and became Switzerland yesterday. And we're like, Switzerland's the worst. At least you guys have chocolates and Rolexes. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. How do you deal with the homeless, right? And it's an interesting question because there's different, to me, there are people that are homeless because they've fallen on hard times. They had a job, they had a home, something happened, a few bad breaks. They don't have anybody, family or friends to turn to, or they're embarrassed to turn to the friends, and they're trying to utilize the resources and the services that are available. They're going to get themselves back on their feet, and they may live in their car for a day or two, stay at a shelter for a little while, but eventually they're going to get back on their feet and they're going to get into a home. There are people that are mentally disturbed. There are people that are drug addicts, fringe dwellers, who borderline mental illness, on top of that also committing crimes, but panhandle and do stuff like that. And then there are people that I just think live on the fringes and elements of society and try to take advantage of opportunities. They want zero responsibility, and that is this guy. And one guy got fed up and sick and tired of it, and he said, I'd have enough of this guy, and I'm going to stand out there next to him.
Sure, thank you very much. You have a good day.
It's a daily ritual for Chad Fox and his dog, manning the intersection of Old Hickory Boulevard and Highway 100. Sure, people don't like panhandlers, but that's not what bothers these Bellevue residents the most. It's how long he's been there.
He's been given help. He's been given a truck. He's been given a place to live. He's been offered jobs multiple times. Turns them all down.
Tyler Blair lives right down the street.
I work very, very hard. I work very hard. Too hard to see people just hanging out, asking for money for nothing.
Yeah, I get that. I won't do it. I won't give money to anybody. I won't. I'm not. Last time I gave money to somebody, it was a guy who had a sign that says, I'm not going to lie, I need a drink. And I'm like, well, at least he's honest. Right? And I've seen some stuff. As every one of you listening probably has a story of the panhandler you see every single day. Right? And they got a sign that says, usually it's a vet. Right? And then it's one of those things where they need gas and they're almost on the way. They'll do that at the gas station. I need a couple bucks just to get just to go from point A to point B, just to get, bus fare or train fare or wherever it is. And you see them there all the time. It's like, well, dude, you've been asking for money for your car for months. Where are you going? Are you going to space? Right? Because that's the only thing I can figure. So I just won't do it. I won't. A lot of people will, but I can't do it.
He passes Chad every single day and says one day it all just finally hit him.
I think it was just more of a built-up thing where every day it builds and it builds and it builds.
So he painted this sign and went out to the corner right next to Chad. But Chad says this one got a little heated.
If you want to express yourself in a sane way, do it. I'm completely all right with that. I don't like getting threatened, though.
I straight up told him, I was like, you can get out of here. No one wants you here. I don't want you here. You can leave.
Yeah, and his sign said, this guy can work. This guy can have a job. I mean, he's had a truck. He's had all of these things. And when you watch him, you're like, well, because to me, he's like a lot of fringe elements. Like there was a couple I saw a couple weeks ago. They were on the side at the truck stop, and they had their knapsack. They had a dog. They're fringe dwellers. They're living in the fringes of society. They don't want responsibility. They're going to panhandle. They're going to take some money. They may stay at a hotel here and there. They'll sleep outside. They're going to travel all over. They're not interested in whatever society has to offer them in terms of responsibility and work. They're not. And that's fine. I get it. But this guy here, when you listen to this makes you shake your head.
Chad drove a forklift for 5 years, but says now he feels stuck. He has no idea what he wants to do.
I know I don't want to do this.
He doesn't want to do this, guys. He doesn't want to do this, although I call BS on that.
For my whole life, of course.
He says that next job has to be something he wants to do for the rest of his life.
Middle manager.
He won't take a job that he doesn't like or will get bored with and end up quitting.
I don't want to hop around from a convenience store to a fast food, a different job every 6 months.
Blair says he doesn't want anything bad to happen. He just wants Chad to get a job.
Oh, yeah. I'm more of a middle management kind of guy. I'm not really sure that, this is kind of what I'm looking at. So, I want to find that right position. Well, here's the thing. He's probably making $150 a day, right? Cash pocket. So no taxes. Say you make $100 a day, right? Equivalent of $130 a day. Or you could go somewhere and work and make $10 a day. I mean, $10 an hour, right? Make $80 a day, less taxes. Be stuck somewhere. Why would you want to give that up? If you're not going to feel like you're going to get anywhere that's better, this is just easy. Probably has a goal. I'm going to get $100, a day, and then I'm out. Goes, and who knows what he does. But it's frustrating. I just will not give money to those people, and and I don't feel bad about it, because my son asked me a couple weeks ago. He's like, Daddy, are you going to give? I said, no, I'm not going to give that guy any change. I'm not. If somebody's starving and hungry and they want food, that's a different thing. But they don't. More often than not, they want money. Cash, and they're going to do something with it. And usually it's not good. And the people who need like mental health and the people who like that, who they are, the people who are talking to themselves. I was in front of a McDonald's the other day, and so my family is here. We're on this vacation thing, and we're staying at this resort, here in Phoenix, and I'm relaxing, and I'm like, I'm going to go get food and breakfast for everybody before we head over to the pool. So I went and got a bunch, and this guy comes out of McDonald's, and I'm sitting there waiting for them to bring out my food. He comes out and he goes over to a trash can and he gets into it with the trash can. He's like, the trash can, he's like, he's having a conversation with the trash can. You know what that guy doesn't do? He's not panhandling. Most of those people, I've seen him on several occasions. He's walking aimlessly. He's not panhandling. This guy does it as a career. And it's frustrating as hell. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It's just one of those things where you just give people the opportunity, right? You give them the opportunity to do things. They're going to push the limits. You tug at people's heartstrings and say, well, they've got to be able to do this. They've got to. It's just, you don't want to be that meanie that takes things like that away from people. And how dared this guy do something? That's not right. This person's a victim. And you're like, no, get a job. Right? Some people can't. They're incapable of holding down anything. But some people, damn skippy they are. But it's just easier this way. Absolutely. Hey, do you guys remember immigration was like this? Oh, my God, immigration. What are we going to do about it? It was totally crazy. And we're like, Trump came out and said something today about immigration between all of the craziness.
No place in the world has what we have in terms of ridiculous immigration laws. So I will be making a major statement. I would say my biggest statement on the border probably today or tomorrow. Thanks.
Yeah. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to go with, I think he is going to send troops. Because he's not going to, from what I understand, it's not going to be a situation where he's closing the border. So if he's not going to close the border, then it is going to be troops. And is there going to be a situation where he's going to give more, try to give him more power? I don't know how this is going to work. It is, but they're still having issues at the border, right? I mean, can we understand that? That hasn't gone away. We've just shifted our focus from what was, either a humanitarian crisis or a emergency, either or. It fits the bill of real problems. And we've moved our focus from, point A to point B, which is Russia again. So we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Car Shield. I travel a lot. I have my Car Shield as the just in case. The CYA, my pocketbook. What is it about? Well, Car Shield's amazing. It's you can go to carshield.com. They have different plans. Maybe you need a plan that covers everything. Maybe you need a plan that you're worried about one or two things on your car, and you're able to get that plan that fits you, and it covers your costly, repairs. Those cover repairs that you need covered. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop, and that shop is the shop you choose. And what ends up happening is they get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible, and boom, there you go. And that rental car, don't discount that. If your car's in the shop for 4 days, having wheels to get around and it's free is a huge, huge thing. Save yourself thousands in future car repairs. Get covered by the ultimate and extended vehicle protection like I did. Call 800-CAR-6000, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson to save 10%, or go to carshield.com. That's carshield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
The coolest thing about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, not that surprising.
It's got to be the Millennium Falcon.
The ride and the life-size ship that dominates part of the 14-acre attraction, says Greg Ashton, one of the Disney Imagineers who helped create Galaxy's Edge.
To be able to walk up firsthand and see it there docked in docking bay number 7, and then actually to get in there and fly it yourself, it's going to be amazing. It's must do.
Surprisingly, the toughest thing to bring to life.
Weirdly enough, sliding doors was really kind of difficult.
And his favorite thing that you can buy?
Do you know what a Kowakian monkey lizard is?
I do now.
Yeah, it's awesome. I got one of those on order. It's going to be great. They eat stuff. It's insane. I just want everybody to just get an understanding. If you're thinking about going to Disneyland and you're thinking about going to Disney and doing this thing, be prepared. You got to do it 2 days, because one of your days is going to be in line waiting to ride the Millennium Falcon. It's like 6 people, I think, go in it. Very interactive. You get to shoot, do all kinds of cool stuff like that. But, man, the more I read about it, the more I'm like, nope. So I'm going to give you a little tips, all right? This is what I'm doing. This is why I care, right? I brought a special guest, Mr. Mickey Mouse. Hi, everybody. So this is what, Mickey, I want to ask you. The best time for people to go if they're saying to themselves, hey, I want to go do this, but I'm not sure I want to do it right away. The absolute best time is simple and easy. October. Why? Because all of the people are going to be coming all summer long. And then after that, people who have passes will be able to use their passes in September. So October is perfect. Yeah. So October is the time you do it. Absolutely. God, it's just 8 hours in line. 8 hours. It's 8 hours, they're saying. Good God. Man, does Disney know what they're doing, or do they know what they're doing? They know what they're doing. It's incredible. It really is. But what they've done, most of the people who go to Disney, I don't think people understand this. Most of the people who go to Disneyland during the day, like right now at Disney, a good portion of those people are pass holders. But this summer, they've blacked out more dates than usual for pass holders, minus the upper echelon passes, which are ridiculous. And so that means that the pass holders won't have the opportunity to go to Disney if they're going to use their pass. They can buy tickets, obviously, but if they're going to use their pass, they won't have the opportunity to use that pass until September. So you'll see a huge influx of people every day going. So it'll still be a couple, 2-3 hour wait probably is what they're saying. So you're looking at like October, like a Tuesday in October. But if you're taking that trip, and there's a lot of people that are doing it, they want to be there and see it. There you go. I just, I don't like anything 8 hours. Nothing in my life is like, yeah, I'd wait 8 hours for that. Not a thing. Nope. Sorry. Nope. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweeted out something today, and I talked about it earlier about, Trump and the whole situation with what he tweeted out today. This guy's like, I want to see you spin this. Nothing to spin. Trump tweeted it, right? It's totally guilty. Oh, God. I get people hate him, right? And I'm not a huge fan of Trump, but he's the president. I don't want him to fail. And, the reality is this is what we've got right now. And if you're going to impeach him, then impeach him. If you're not going to impeach him, then let's all get on with our lives and start doing some stuff for the country. Because this is tiring for a lot of people. It's Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
If we had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so.
Then why didn't you say one way or the other? Still trying to figure out what happened for 2+ years, all that money. Right? Ken Starr came to a conclusion. Now, he was an independent as opposed to a special counsel. One works for the White House. The other one is independent of everything. But if you knew that you were not going to be able to charge him with anything.
Under long-standing department policy, a president cannot be charged with a federal crime while he is in office. That is unconstitutional.
So, what again? Wait, what? I'm still trying to figure out what happened then. Why did we do this? Was it only for impeachment that we did this? I know he came out and he said, well, here's the thing, right? Wanted to make sure that we got everything documented while their minds were still fresh, just in case there were other indictments and co-conspirators. Well, you didn't indict anybody else for collusion. Other people got in trouble for lying to you, but mostly they're in trouble for other things they did long before they met Trump, like tax evasion and money laundering and failure to register as a foreign agent, things of that nature. But when I listened to him yesterday, you solved nothing. Barr came out today and said he could have, if he thought he was guilty, he should have said he thought he was guilty. But the more I think about it, I'm just sitting there going, I just feel like you were a really, really expensive historian. Yeah, Chad, but he got all these other people that were, I get that. But in saying that, you got all these other people. How many of them were busted for collusion, working with Russians to conspire to steal an election? How many? How many? I'm curious. How many were indicted because of that? Trump, okay, you can't indict Trump. How about his kids? They're the ones who sat down and met with Russians. Why not them? Right? Why not other people inside the administration? If you knew you weren't going to do this, you just became a really, really, really expensive historian. Just curious. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love hearing from you. The battle of abortion is on, and it is growing.
After all the heated debate in the Louisiana House of Representatives,
the right of life.
Governor John Bel Edwards quietly signed a measure that bans abortion after a fetal heartbeat can be detected. There was no ceremony. Edwards' office simply sent out a list of bills signed with this one on it. The measure won't take effect anytime soon, only if a federal appeals court upholds a similar law in neighboring Mississippi, and that's likely to be as long as a year away, maybe more.
Yeah, a lot of these bills that when it comes to abortion, are there going to be, there's going to be so many legal fights that even when you get to the point where you think, oh, okay, now this may take effect. Oh, there's going to be another fight and there's going to get kicked down the road. There's so many things that are going to happen. So you've got that. Then today, a hearing in Missouri over their last Planned Parenthood. Before their bill even goes into effect, there may be nowhere to get said abortion.
The license for Missouri's Planned Parenthood St. Louis clinic, the last in the state, expires Friday. Missouri Governor Mike Parsons says the clinic isn't cooperating with an investigation of alleged failed abortions and isn't complying with state law.
The state health department issued a statement of deficiencies revolving around Planned Parenthood's violating the law and providing safe care for women.
But Planned Parenthood says the state's health department is unlawfully holding up its license renewal. They've sued the health department. A court hearing is scheduled for Thursday morning.
Yeah, we're still waiting to figure out what's going to go on there. And it is getting, it's getting heated. People are upset. You're getting, Bob Iger came out talking about Georgia's law. Bob Iger, if you don't know who he is, he runs Mouse House. That's Disney, for those of you not keeping score. And they were asking him because Georgia and a lot of these southern states give huge tax breaks and incentives to Hollywood. Georgia's one of those places right now where they're filming more in Georgia than they are in Hollywood. A lot more. And they asked him today in the Mouse House. You got Star Wars, right? This is Galaxy's Edge. All of this stuff's happening, and it's big. It's going to be huge at the Mouse House. You're not just running all of the entertainment side. That is part of what you do, is running their Mouse House, and that is what everything is built upon. You're excited, and they ask you about, hey, you guys going to work in Georgia because of the abortion thing?
Well, I think if it becomes law, it'll be very difficult to produce, or I rather doubt we will. I don't think I think many people who work for us will not want to work there, and we'll have to heed their wishes in that regard. Right now, we're watching it very carefully. I guess there's some speculation it could be enacted sometime after the first of the year. I think it's also likely to be challenged in the courts, and that could delay it. And we're being careful and cautious about it. But if it becomes law, I don't see how it's practical for us to continue to shoot there.
Yeah. So, this is all political. The battle's huge. You had one of the ladies from Game of Thrones saying, I will never go to Georgia or work in Georgia again. Of course, she also happened to be in Northern Ireland, where, for those of you not keeping score, Northern Ireland is not a fan of abortion. Right? So, just to let you know that there. But she's like, I'm happy I'm leaving here. Yeah, but you're not going to go film there, but you stayed there. If you were really a person that was about this, you would have said, I'm not filming Game of Thrones here. I'm not doing my part. We can move it elsewhere. Let the politics begin. You know what people want? They're still hoping. They want somebody to stand up and give a ruling. It is this. 12 weeks. That's it. We have spoken. 12 weeks is it. After that, no more. Then you can start to have a conversation and debate. Obviously, if the woman's life is in danger, yes. But outside of that, people want a ruling. They want to know, what are the parameters that I am playing in, right? What are the rules? Because everything seems to be a little bit different. And that's the beauty of the states, is the states run their own little fiefdoms, right? It's their own little countries inside of a bunch of countries, right? And we're doing our thing. But we also have the federal. We have the Constitution. It's protected. And Roe v. Wade, what's going to happen with that federally? A lot of people say it's the privacy portion of it. There's so many things that are going to go into this in this battle here. We shall see. And a lot of this, I don't think, will be settled before next year. And this is going to get people excited. People are going to come out in major ways from both sides of the aisle. And they may not be people who vote normally in presidential elections, and they may care less in some ways. But they're going to come out to vote for their senators, their state senators, their state congresspeople, because they want to either keep it the way it is or overturn it. But they will vote for the president then, or against the president. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Today, here's a perfect example. The whole thing with Trump had to answer questions today about the USS John McCain. For those you don't know, he, in Asia, bunch of battleships. What ship wasn't there? The USS John McCain, right? And he had to answer questions about that because they said, well, they wanted it covered up. They wanted it removed so nobody could see it because of the bad blood. Trump talked a bit about that today.
Somebody did it because they thought I didn't like him, okay? And they were well-meaning, I will say. I didn't know anything about it. I would never have done that.
Yeah. Do I think Trump would do something like that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. I'm not going to. I think he would. I don't know if he would he's not going to do it, but could he direct somebody to do it? Yes. Could somebody also take it upon themselves to say, look, this is, because you're going to get hammered for it. If you're sitting there and you're talking about, giving a speech on Memorial Day and behind you is the USS John McCain, somebody you've had a battle with, the press is going to make something of it. Because that's what the press does. On the other side of it, if it's not there, the press is going to make something of it. It was going to be this way. And it is this way. And the battle is there, and you got people who are pissed off about it, and you've got, Meghan McCain's upset. So many people are upset.
I had journalists emailing me all Memorial Day about this, just sort of giving me a heads up this was happening. So the idea that people didn't know is ridiculous.
And there's a battle there. It's an absolute battle and still John McCain from the grave and his supporters. Just it's there. It is a battle, and it's not going anywhere. He fights the dead and he fights the living. At some point in time, again, the chaos. Some people just live and thrive in chaos. You ever had a friend like that? Right? We even talked about Tiger Woods, right? Where his best golf was when his life was probably the most chaotic. They always said Wild Bill, the great gunfighter, Wild Bill Hickok, when things got the sketchiest and the most dangerous is when he said life slowed down for him. It was almost like he needed chaos to thrive. And I think sometimes with Trump, he needs chaos to thrive. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hey, speaking of veterans, working with an amazing organization. I mean, they are just incredible. They're called Wounded Paw Project. And what they do is they go into kill facilities because there's thousands of dogs being euthanized every single day. And we got 20 veterans a day who are committing suicide on average. And they go into the kill facilities and they rescue dogs who are going to be euthanized. And they train them to be service dogs, and then they pair them up with veterans, first responders, and their family. It's amazing, but they need your help. Absolutely need your help. You know what they need? Your extra car, truck, RV, even a boat, whatever it is, right? And they're going to take that, and they're going to turn that into change for a paw, as they like to say, and for our nation's heroes. It's tax deductible. They're available 7 days a week to answer any questions. It's a great organization. How do you find out what you can do for them? Simple and easy. Go to woundedpaw.careasy.org, woundedpaw.careasy.org, or call 844-678-4PAW. That's 844-678-4729. Save a paw, save a life. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Chips, hamburgers, pizza, donuts, French
Yummy.
fries, soda, ice cream, and whiskey.
Minus the whiskey, most of that is my entire food group right there because I have the palate of a 7-year-old.
Chips, hamburgers, pizza, donuts, French fries, soda, ice cream, and whiskey. All of it ultra-processed and all of it leading to your early demise should you consume them regularly. That's a conclusion of a study published in the British Medical Journal that says consuming 5 or more of those ultra-processed foods increases the risk of mortality by 62%. Main cause of death, cancer. Average age at death, 58. Another study out of France concludes there's a clear link between those foods and cardiovascular disease, the main cause of death worldwide.
Crazy, right? So all the things that taste delicious can kill you. That's not good, right? We don't want that, kids. But, man, I do love a hamburger. I do. A good burger. And donut, right? Like, we can have donuts on Friday. Now, for all of that stuff, this is what's interesting.
Between 1999 and 2015, the general trend seems positive. Death rates across all types of cancer continued to decline for men, women, and children in the U.S. That from the National Cancer Institute's annual study, which this time also includes a special section on men and women between the ages of 20 and 49. In that demographic, researchers found that both the incidence and death rates were higher among women. And by far the most common cancer for those women was breast cancer, reinforcing, authors of the study say, the importance of more research on prevention, early detection, and treatment.
Well, obviously, hamburgers and donuts and everything. Potato chips, by the way. I was reading this. Potato chips are the number one packer of pounds. The number one packer of pounds. So when we're eating junk and crap, the thing that puts on weight more than anything else, potato chips. Because you just can't have one. Right? You just can't. I mean, it is, ugh. And when you find that chip you love, you know what I'm talking about. You're just like, hey, baby, what's up? And you're just like, stuff's flying out of your face. Oh, man. Everything in moderation, people. It's that simple. It's life. Everything in moderation. If you could do it in moderation, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at somebody just tweeted at me and said, it's the USS John McCain's not named for John McCain. It's named for John S. McCain, the last admiral. McCain, not the senator. Actually, no, it has been renamed, rededicated for father and grandfather. So there you go. You know, so you got the rededication there. Hey, we've already got somebody. We didn't have to pay anything on the ship. Look at that. We've already got his name right there. That's his name. So we could just give it to this guy. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. Love hearing from all of you. I wonder man, if I'm Nancy Pelosi, we're going to touch on Nancy Pelosi. I'm going to show you guys here in a little bit how easy it is to play games with audio. How absolutely easy it is to play games. Because last week you had this group that slowed down the audio and made it seem like Nancy was having a stroke on stage, but she wasn't. It was a giant joke. I'm going to show you how easy it is to play with audio in both directions. How to make it sound great. How to make it sound awful. And think about this. It's coming in bigger ways, not just audio, but video. So be prepared for that. We worry about Russia. I look around and say to myself, how are we prepared when it comes to our social media? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It is the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The license for Missouri's Planned Parenthood St. Louis clinic, the last in the state, expires Friday. Missouri Governor Mike Parsons says the clinic isn't cooperating with an investigation of alleged failed abortions and isn't complying with state law.
The state health department issued a statement of deficiencies revolving around Planned Parenthood's violating the law and providing safe care for women.
But Planned Parenthood says the state's health department is unlawfully holding up its license renewal. They've sued the health department. A court hearing is scheduled for Thursday morning.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there as this heats up across the board, and it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue, and it's going to continue to do so. Roe v. Wade, a lot of people think that is the next thing. Like somebody's going to try to get it there, and it is going to get there, and they're going to hear it. And I think that this is just my opinion, right? Like, that's why you listen to the show, right? My opinion essentially is states are going to handle it the way that they want to handle it, like a lot of states do when it comes to guns, things of that nature. They're going to handle it differently. I don't think federally they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade. Now, there's the right to privacy issue that people are talking about, that is ripe for the taking, if you will, in Roe v. Wade and overturning it. But I also think that you're going to have situations where they'll get, just like we saw with Indiana, it'll get there and they'll listen to a portion of it, but they're not going to listen to the whole thing, and they're not going to take it up and overturn it. They're not. But it's a worry for a lot of people out there. It is. It's a big, big worry. And much like with Mueller, I continue to say this, what they're looking for is definitions. Define when life begins, and we can go from there and have a much more mature debate, is I think what a lot of people want. A much more real, robust, actual conversation rather than the fear factor that goes on. The NRA, right? They're out there to protect gun owners and Second Amendment. And that's their thing. They're coming to take everything away from us. It's an argument that both sides use, and it's about the control. They want definitions. People want we want definitions. And when you leave stuff open to interpretation, that's why courts are as important as they are nowadays, maybe more so than in any time in our history. Courts are so vitally important because so many things end up there. So we'll see. We'll see what takes place. We'll see if they get it there like a lot of people are hoping it happens. But at this point in time, I'm still of the opinion that they are going to be allowing the states to handle it themselves. And we've got another state that's joined on.
Louisiana now joins a chorus of other states, including Ohio, that have passed new laws restricting abortion to the point where a fetal heartbeat can be detected. And in this case, making no exclusions for pregnancies caused by rape or incest. There is some argument over where in the pregnancy that point is, whether it's 6 weeks or 10 weeks. Louisiana's governor, the Democrat who has promised to sign this, put out a statement yesterday indicating so.
And he's a Democratic governor, but he also understands what Louisiana is. And he's a Southern Democrat. And you look around and there's that, define the 6 weeks to 8 weeks. That is what so many people, is it 12 weeks? Are we doing 12 weeks? Is it 12? And then after that, no mas? Because after 3 months, you can't make up your mind scenario. We still have to have the conversation about access to birth control. So there's so many conversations, but we can't have it when the conversation goes automatically to the fringes and the extremes. And it's just not, it doesn't, to me, it just doesn't work. You can't have when people are screaming and yelling, nothing is getting done because nobody's listening to each other. Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, was asked the question, right? They're getting ready to open up Star Wars Land. It's going to be the coolest, biggest thing in the history. We're talking about 8 hours wait to get on the ride. You could fly the Millennium Falcon. And what did they ask him? They asked him about abortion as he's sitting in the middle of the park.
Well, I think if it becomes law, it'll be very difficult to produce, or I rather doubt we will. I don't think I think many people who work for us will not want to work there, and we'll have to heed their wishes in that regard. Right now, we're watching it very carefully. I guess there's some speculation it could be enacted sometime after the first of the year. I think it's also likely to be challenged in the courts, and that could delay it. and we're being careful and cautious about it. But if it becomes law, I don't see how it's practical for us to continue to shoot there.
And Georgia, right, who kind of started all of this, they are Hollywood part deux. They are Hollywood part deux, and they could be looking at a loss of a ton of money. Netflix, right? Reed Hastings, who owns Netflix, he was outed yesterday because I guess he gave money to somebody in Missouri who happened to be, I don't know if it's a co-sponsor of the bill or supported this bill. So it is, and they said yesterday, well, we're looking at it. We're not quite sure if we're going to make any more shows in Missouri and in Georgia and a few of these other places. And this is where the politics come, because what happens is we're not talking about it in a reasonable way. So you're going to see the financial side of things, the potential of losing money, on top of the political side of things. Can you withstand that pressure of losing tons of money? And on top of that, we're still in limbo of, well, when does it begin? When does life begin? Right? I read a great article the other day from a Democrat who was pro-choice and is now pro-life. And she goes, I don't want to take away anybody else's choice. I wouldn't do it. She goes, but you know what? We're also, if we say we want people to listen to us on climate change, should we listen to what people say about life? And that's settled science. And, but I'm like, you know what? You can find people that will especially scientists that will find a way to back up your argument in anything. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Nancy Pelosi, this whole thing with this video that's out there, but I want to show you guys. I did something earlier. I want to show you guys how be prepared for deep fakes, but be prepared for wackiness and the things that you can do. Of course, if you guys don't know, Pelosi had this video that's out there, even Hillary speaking about it.
When Facebook refused to take down a fake video of Nancy Pelosi, it wasn't even a close call. The video is sexist trash. And YouTube took it down, but Facebook kept it up.
Well, first of all, I don't think it's sexist trash, but it is horrible, right? So, but I'm going to show you what you can do in situations, just how easy it is. This took me 5 minutes to do. This is something she was talking about yesterday. She was giving a big speech, and she was talking about Facebook and the whole 9 yards.
Right now.
This is her regular speaking tone.
Right now, there is a false video that the Republicans are putting out on Facebook. Now, this is self-serving of me to say, but I say it because I don't want other women say to me sometime, I would run, but I couldn't subject my family to what you go through. So we need you to run. So, we have to get past that. But when something like Facebook says, I know this is false, but it's a lie, but we're showing it anyway. Well, to me, it says two things. One, that I was giving them the benefit of the doubt on Russia, but clearly I thought it was unwitting, but clearly they wittingly were accomplices and enablers of false information to go across Facebook.
Ooh, yeah. She hammered them, right? So this is me cleaning up the audio and putting a little something on it. Listen to this one. That one was 50 seconds long. Here's me cleaning up the audio.
Right now, there is a false video that the Republicans are putting out on Facebook. Now, this is self-serving of me to say, but I say it because I don't want other women say to me sometime, I would run, but I couldn't subject my family to what you go through.
Sounds like she's very coherent. This is me taking it the other way.
Right now, there is a false video that the Republicans are putting out.
Play the game. Got to be prepared for that. For all the worry about Russia, and China, North Korea hacking in and doing stuff. And again, the elections, those are state-run, right? Local things that they have to worry. So not federal run. And they've got to figure out how they protect themselves. And we need to put more money into doing that. And as of yet, we haven't found out where they've changed any of the votes. I don't think any of that stuff happened. But let's just remember that these were all used on platforms like Facebook. How prepared is Facebook? How prepared is Twitter? How prepared is YouTube? How prepared is Instagram for 2020? That took me 5 minutes to do. It's not that hard. It isn't. It took me 5 minutes to do that. And that's what's coming. And then you take that and you throw in things like deep fakes, which are getting better and better by the hour, which are videos where you can get anybody to say anything. And if you can mimic their voice good enough, get ready for that. How is somebody going to tell the difference? Look, when you look at what Bob Mueller did, he talked about the fact that their whole goal, I don't think it wasn't to get Trump elected. They thought Hillary was going to be elected. But their biggest goal was to divide us. And it worked. It absolutely worked. But we had to be a willing player. We had to opt into the division, and we sure in the hell did. Right? Most of those people sharing things that was misinformation, lies, bold-faced lies, fake news, whatever you want to call it, they were sharing amongst their friends who were already drinking the same Kool-Aid. So we're a part of this as well. They may have been the fire, but we sure in the hell were the fuel. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I love hamburgers. I just want to say this, and this is sad news.
Chips, hamburgers, pizza, donuts, french fries, soda, ice cream, and whiskey. All of it ultra-processed, and all of it leading to your early demise, should you consume them regularly. That's a conclusion of a study published in the British Medical Journal that says consuming 5 or more of those ultra-processed foods increases the risk of mortality by 62%. Main cause of death, cancer. Average age at death, 58. Another study out of France concludes there's a clear link between those foods and cardiovascular disease, the main cause of death worldwide.
Oh. It's like we talked about yesterday with diabetes and everything. So much of what goes on is what we put in our mouths, right? What we put in our face, right? And we put it in our bodies, and it's moderation, man. It is moderation. And one thing we as human beings anymore don't do is moderate. We are our biggest and worst enemy in so many ways. We really are. But it was sad to hear about burgers because I do love me a hamburger. Again, though, moderation. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Also, what do they say? Potato chips are the single biggest cause. The single biggest cause of weight gain is potato chips, as far as foods. I do love a chip, too, right? I think we all do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Car Shield is incredible. Don't let your wallet get light. Get Car Shield and do it right. What is Car Shield? Well, they're going to protect your car. That's what they're going to do. They're the shield for your car. They're going to protect your wallet. They are an amazing company. What you do is you go on to carshield.com, use my promo code Benson, save you 10%. You scan around, you find what's right for you when it comes to protecting your car, because your car's out of warranty, right? You got 80,000 miles on it. You've had it a while, but you don't want to get rid of it because you do like your car, something like that, right? So you want some protection for those cover repairs. You go and you say, this is what I need right here. This is the plan I need. You sign up for it. It's that simple. Then something happens to your car. God forbid it does, but if it did, you got 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop, and that shop is the shop that you choose. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. It is that easy. Get yourself Car Shield right now. Call 800-CAR-6000, mention code Benson, or visit carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson. Saves you 10% right there. Deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what? Federal prosecutors pushed for 17 years in prison, but a judge gave Vicente Zambada Niebla 15 years. The former chief of logistics for the Sinaloa cartel provided the government crucial information about the organized crime unit, including testimony in New York that led to the conviction of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. He even gave testimony against his own father, who also worked for the cartel. Zambada Niebla has already spent a decade behind bars and will get time served, freeing him in a matter of years. Once he is released, he'll likely be put into witness protection.
Yeah. And then he'll die there. Think about this, okay? That's right. Like, El Chapo was arguably, for a while, the most dangerous human being on earth in his organization. So soak that up for a moment. This guy testified. He's being protected in jail, which is probably where he needs to stay for the rest of his life if he expects to, what? To never be found? This isn't Sammy the Bull. This is El Chapo. John Gotti is nothing compared to these people, right? But in saying that, think about this for a second. They'll get you. They will. Remember Whitey Bulger? They moved him, and within 24 hours, he was dead. Killed by people who weren't alive when he was a name in the business of mobbing. He was dead. They'll find him. They'll find him. You cannot hide. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Well, Trump has spoken, kids, when it comes to immigration and what he is going to do. Oh, yes. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? Everybody? This is what Trump is going to do when it comes to immigration.
In a tweet, President Trump announced the U.S. will impose a 5% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. from Mexico. He says they will remain until, quote, such time as illegal migrants coming through Mexico and into our country stop. He also threatened to gradually increase the tariffs until he says the problem is remedied.
So it's 5% on all goods until they get this sorted out, all the while the big trade deal's being done and dusted and put to bed and going to be voted on the whole 9 yards. He wants this. He wants them to act like they're trying to stop it from continuing to happen. That's what he wants. Like, make an effort. Make an effort. At this point in time, they should just put those little stalls that you walk through. The thing goes clink, and it tells you how many people have walked through. So at least we have an idea of what's going on. So we'll see. We'll see how real this is. He's going to start trade wars everywhere. He uses tariffs as a weapon. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to stop anything when it comes to illegal immigration. I think the trade battle that's going on with China is warranted. I think they've been getting away with murder for years, and nobody in the globe is holding them accountable. And I'm good with that. I don't know how that's going to play out. But what other things is he going to do at this point in time? He's got to try something. And at least an effort's being made, albeit I don't think it's the right effort, but it is an effort. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Check us out on Instagram as well. Also at Chad Benson Show. Check out the Facebook. Chad Benson Show is your Facebook as well. Wait, what show is this? It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
If we had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so.
But why didn't you say so? Or why didn't you say he did? Well, we can't. You got to understand, because Office of Legal Analysis, 73 memo, Constitution, we can't indict. Ken Starr, he said he's guilty of all these things, right? So why didn't you? People wanted you to choose a side. I just wanted you to be honest. I didn't care what side it landed on, right? I didn't care what side it landed. I did not care. And what you did yesterday was no more than what we already knew, right? But you did do one thing. You said, well, he can't defend himself, so that wouldn't have been fair. But in the court of public opinion, we're kind of going to have the trial anyways, where he's got to come out and defend himself, but not have the actual legal opportunity to defend himself. But we're going to make it a political thing more than it already is.
Mueller had lots and lots of lawyers, virtually all of them anti-Trump, very smart lawyers, very good prosecutors from very expensive law firms. And after 2 years, what do they got? And the most startling thing, if anybody wants to know how sick the system got, it's Mueller's assertion that he couldn't exonerate Trump. That is exactly the opposite of the American system. In the absence of proof of guilt, somebody's automatically innocent. We don't have to walk around every day proving we're innocent. That's our birthright as Americans. It's the duty of the state to prove we're guilty. And clearly, Mueller could not do that.
Yeah. Why aren't other indictments coming down for people inside of the administration and his family? I think it's just a fair questions, and I don't think Bob Mueller wants to also be asked a bunch of questions about the dossier. Who was this guy? How is this, intelligence gathering going on? Who's feeding this guy all the information? How's he getting it? How did you go about getting these warrants, on the Carter page and all this? There's so many things that you were going to have to answer that would make you feel uncomfortable on the other side. You just want to be out, right? You just want to be done. You're pissed. You're over. You don't like Trump. I get that. I got no problem with that. You don't have to like Trump, But at the same time, you left more questions than answers. And here we are again. Now we're debating impeachment over and over and over. Do I think impeachment's going to happen at some point in time? I think Nancy Pelosi is going to stave off the wolves long enough because I think she figures this is a lose-lose situation. We're going to turn him into a sympathetic figure that is going to gain him 5-10 points, maybe more, in popularity. We're going to turn a bunch of people who are in the middle off. You don't have to win a lot. Understand, to be the next president, you've got everything mapped out for you on both sides. It is a small area in a few states that you only have to change 2 to 5% on your side to become president. And if you turn those people off and you turn them into a sympathetic figure, you could be damning your own party. So she's got to walk a very fine line. I wouldn't want to be her. That's a crappy job right now. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Everest. So we talked about this the other day. She had all these people dying on Mount Everest, right? And this guy came out and he said, you got to qualify for the Boston Marathon, right? So you're just an average running Joe. You got to qualify for the Boston Marathon. And people are asking the question, why in God's name are they just letting anybody climb? Because you realize if you today, sitting at home, wanted to go climb Mount Everest and you had the money, you could do it. Even if you've never climbed anything in your life, even if you've never climbed a hill or walked over a speed bump, because you've decided this is something that is on your bucket list and you've got to do it. And now we've seen way too many people there trying to summit on something that is, as they say, when you get to the top, it is only about the size of 2 ping pong tables. And it's a big drop. And you want to get up there, you want to take your picture, and the people are dying in the death zone waiting like they're trying to get on a ride at Disneyland.
What we might see is an effort to restrict not just an arbitrary number of climbers, but to maybe introduce a minimum altitude requirement for previous climbs to say to people, look, if you're going to try Everest, you have to have tried another tall mountain first.
Isn't that nuts? Because some people, you read their stories and you hear about them, and it's like, it's the first thing I've ever done. And you're like, what? It's the first thing you've ever done? I mean, it takes balls to do it, or ovaries. I don't want to leave anybody out. But it is kind of insane that, like, the first thing that you're going to take on is, like, maybe go down the street, right, and walk up the dirt mountain down there. The kids are jumping their bike off. See if that's something you want to do. And then we'll go from there, right? Then we'll make a run at it there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. There's a hearing going on today in Missouri. The battle for abortion rights continues to go on.
And before that ban can even take effect, the state is eagerly moving to ban abortion in the state through the weaponized regulatory process. That is what's going on here, and that is what Missourians will not stand for.
Yeah, so what they're looking at doing in Missouri, essentially, is they've put in, much like a lot of other states, different, some of them are 12 weeks, some of them are 8 weeks, some of them are 6 weeks. The penalties to the doctors, not to the woman, vary from life in prison to, potentially 15 years. So what they're looking to do right now in Missouri is there's only one abortion clinic left. Only one left. And what they're saying is the law's not yet gone into effect, and for many of these that are being signed in Louisiana and elsewhere, they won't go into effect until January of next year. But in Missouri, they're saying, well, it's not going to go into effect until January of next year. But hold on a second, because we did a routine inspection a few months ago, and we found all of these things wrong, and they're up for licensing to get their license renewal. And we're not quite sure they should be renewed. We want to talk to the doctors. Only 2 of the 7 doctors apparently have spoken. And so as of tomorrow, if the court doesn't overturn it today or stop it, they will be essentially not licensed anymore. And Missouri will not have an abortion clinic. My question when it comes to, there's so many things, and it's hard to have a conversation that's real about this because it is such an emotional issue. And as we all know, when emotions start to get out there and it starts to boil over, then reason disappears and nothing will ever get done. People want to know universally, when are we going to call it life? When are we calling it life? Is it 12 weeks? That's it? Is it when it can live outside the womb, right? Even with the medical advances, even if it's, when are we going to call it that? Give people this is the line right here. Anything after that is a no-go. Is it 12 weeks? Is it 15 weeks? Because after 12 or 15 weeks, unless you're in a situation where the mother's health is endangered, you should have made up your mind by then. Is that what we're going to do? And I think people want that kind of line out there and go, okay, now we know what it is. Now we know what the parameters are, and we can go from there. And the other thing is, and this is something I keep bringing up to people's access. How much access do people have? Why aren't we making it easy where you can go down to the damn, to any pharmacy anywhere, right, and get birth control pills? That's it. Should be that simple. Without a prescription, go down, get it, we can move on with our lives. Make it as easy as possible so when you draw that line and then you say, well, you know what? You went past that line. Access was absolutely easy, and you chose not to use it. It's on you. And now that is a baby, and that baby has protections. But you've got to put everything in place, and that's what makes it so crazy, because you have so many moving parts and so many people have different ideas, and it's like everything else. This is the battle that we have. And then it becomes emotional, and we throw everything out. Reason goes right out there, and then we shout over each other, we shout at each other, but we don't listen to one another. And that's not going to help anybody. It's not. People want the parameters. People like to know, okay, what are the rules of this? What are the rules of the game we're playing? How does it work? And we don't have that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. We were talking earlier about the big attraction at the old Disneyland that's getting ready to debut. It's Galaxy's Edge.
It's got to be the Millennium Falcon. I mean, we get to see this. It's been a major character in so many of the Star Wars stories, but to be able to walk up firsthand and see it there docked in docking bay number 7, and then actually to get in there and fly it yourself, it's going to be amazing. It's must do.
Must do. And apparently you get to fly it yourself. You get to shoot things, so it's very interactive in the thing, but it's only like 6 people at a time get to go, so hence the reason why it's going to take forever, to get on this thing. But the lines, people were texting me because I said, look, they're looking at 6 to 8 hour waits to ride this thing. And that is insane, right? And I just, producer, what's the longest you've ever waited in line, producer Phil, for anything? Now, back in our day, we used to have to wait in line for concert tickets. I had to explain to people. You used to have to go to Warehouse Records or whatever it is that was out there, Tower Records, wherever you were, and you'd have to wait in line overnight for the thing to open up with your wristband to get tickets before the internet. And so, but for a singular thing, what's the longest you've ever waited in line?
Well, I have camped out for concert tickets, but for, say, a ride at an amusement park, probably hour and a half, maybe 2.
Yeah. That's about I've done that. I've done about an hour and a half with family and friends. I wouldn't have done it had I not been with other people, but partially because I've been to Disneyland. I don't know. I would say Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, SeaWorld, and all these things. I've probably been there collectively 1,000 times. I mean, I've been to SeaWorld like 15 times this year already or something like that, and I used to have passes for years, and I would go almost daily basis to Disneyland when I was younger in Knott's Berry Farm. So, but when friends would come over, I would do the longer rides and wait. But man, I just don't. 6 hours. That's like I'm tapping out after 90 minutes to 2 hours, maybe 6 hours. Yeah, I'm a pass. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Because you got to think if you ride it in October rather than August or June or July, the ride's going to be the exact same. But for people coming out of town, you don't have a choice, right? This is your one-stop shop of getting everything in, and that's why you get those 3 days. And you're going to spend 3 days in line just to get on this ride a couple times. Ooh, crazy. Hey, I saw this. Burglars were asked, how do you guys choose your houses? I say you guys, right? It could be girls too. And it says simple. We knock. We find out if anybody's home. And if no one answers, boom. We know it's an easy mark. Oh, that's what's great about Blink XT2 cameras. They detect motion. So when someone gets near your camera, you get an alert on your phone. They got the Blink smartphone app. You get a video clip. Even better, it's a two-way talk feature. It lets you talk to who's ever there. From telling the delivery guy, hey, leave that around the back, right? To saying, hi, kids. Hey, what's going on, kids? Get your butt inside. To, hey, you better get away or I'm going to call the police, right? It's like you're home, even when you're not home. They're wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 lithium batteries, last up to 2 years. The Blink X2 cameras start under $100. $100 to protect your home. Think about that. That's how cheap is that? No contracts, no subscription, totally affordable. Thanks to Blink, home security just got easier. Visit blinkprotect.com/Benson. That's blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blink is available not only on Amazon and Best Buy. You can go check it out there. Blink's an Amazon company. It works with Alexa. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
Emotional testimony happening here inside of a Cleveland County courtroom. Right up there, Craig Box testifying about his son Austin, a linebacker at OU who died of a drug overdose in 2011.
I can't explain what happens to you as a parent when a child dies. We heard from so many parents across that have lost children in similar circumstances, that the same story as us, had no idea, had no clue.
Yes, he's one of the first people to testify. His son, OU, by the way, is Oklahoma, and you've got this big fight going on there for the opioid trial, Johnson & Johnson. And you're going to hear a lot of things. And it's a bench trial, so that means there's a judge there. It's not going to be a jury as this is being heard. And it is, they've got internal emails, which when you listen to them, again, you see it in black and white. Even if this is the lingo that we use in here. As an outside person, what do you think?
Lawyers for Johnson & Johnson pointing out that Austin Box didn't necessarily use any of their drugs. The state also showed internal Johnson & Johnson documents that it says reveal how the company marketed drugs to doctors, partially by referring to them as targets and ranking them by how likely they were to prescribe. And we're expecting the trial could go another 8 weeks here inside this courtroom.
And it's going to be very, very interesting as this thing breaks itself down, because all of these opioid companies, Purdue Pharma and so many of these other big ones from not just America, but around the globe, whose product is here are looking at this. They've already settled in a lot of other states saying it's just easier to give you money and go away. But you look at this and you say, well, targets. I mean, how likely to prescribe? Look, the whole thing is a game. Have you ever gone to a doctor's office and see the people that come in to talk to the doctors, right? They find supermodels and send them in. It's no 400-pound pharmacy salesperson, right? Big Pharma is not. And because it is that kind of thing. It is a competitive business. But it's also for, we talked about yesterday, unlike the tobacco industry, it's also a situation where medically there are benefits to this. Just getting started, man. Just getting started. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Check out the Chad Benson Show Facebook page as well. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You know who got me elected? I got me elected. Russia didn't help me at all.
But wait, you tweeted that they did. He tweeted it out twice, and then he's trying to walk it back. Sometimes he's his own worst enemy and his own best enemy. But if he is, he should be hoping they try to impeach him. God, he should be just I hope they try to impeach me. I will be a sympathetic character to a lot of people out there that are on the fence. A lot of people out there who think, well, you should let the voters decide. And you guys are trying to remove him. Oh, man, I hope they do. If they do, he's got to have a smile on his face. But, Chad, you wouldn't want that. Are you kidding me? Of course. He knows he's not going to be impeached. Go back and look at what took place with Clinton. The Republicans dropped about 10 points. Clinton picked up about 15 points in popularity. It wasn't a good look for them. And at that point in time, Ken Starr at least came out and said, look, these are all the things he did. These are all the things I think he's guilty of. So you guys do what you want, but I'm telling you right now, I'm choosing this is it, as opposed to Mueller going, maybe he did some stuff, maybe he didn't do some stuff, maybe he did some stuff, maybe he didn't do some stuff, couldn't really prove it, but could not prove it. We didn't indict him, but we didn't, So kind of guilty, but not guilty. Yeah, I got stuff to do. Ugh, frustrating. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. This story, how many of you feel frustrated when you see this on a daily basis, when you go up to a certain area, right? You're getting off a freeway, you're at a stop, a stoplight that you're at all the time, and you see that same person there day in and day out.
See, well, if you live around Bellevue, you've probably seen Chad around here, and you might have even given him food or given him money.
Not me.
And he comes here pretty often. You can see by this big, worn-out patch of grass at my feet. That's where he stands every single day. A lot of people around here, they're getting tired of watching people constantly give him money. And this guy, he just got beyond tired, and he said he had to do something about it.
Yeah, so you got a guy that sees this dude on a daily basis, and he's like, I've had enough. I've absolutely had enough.
Sure, thank you very much. You have a good day.
It's a daily ritual for Chad Fox and his dog, manning the intersection of Old Hickory Boulevard and Highway 100. Sure, people don't like panhandlers, but that's not what bothers these Bellevue residents the most. It's how long he's been there.
He's been given help. He's been given a truck. He's been given a place to live. He's been offered jobs multiple times. Turns them all down.
Tyler Blair lives right down the street.
I work very hard. Too hard to see people just hanging out, asking for money for nothing.
Yes. Drives me crazy. When I was in Palm Springs, it was awful. There was a lady who would stand there with a sign. and the sign had, our child or baby, whatever it was, just died. We need help burying. And could you donate money? And after about 3 months, I'm like, I'm calling BS. I don't think you had a kid. And if you did, it's been buried by now. And they flipped out. They flipped out. Because you're standing in front of this Carl's Jr. You've been there for, God knows, I've seen you every day for 3 months. I saw a guy with a creative side the other day. It's all, I need booze and drugs. I'm like, well, at least you're honest. At least you're honest.
He passes Chad every single day and says one day it all just finally hit him.
I think it was just more of a built-up thing where every day it builds and it builds and it builds.
So he painted this sign and went out to the corner right next to Chad. But Chad says this one got a little heated.
If you want to express yourself in a sane way, do it. I'm completely all right with that. I don't like getting threatened, though.
I straight up told him, I was like, you can get out of here. No one wants you here. I don't want you here. You can leave.
Now, the sign says this guy can work, right? He can work. And let's when we talk about the homeless and people like this, let's talk about what is out there, right? You've got people that are genuinely homeless. They've fallen on some hard times. They're staying at shelters and maybe sleeping in their car, but eventually they're going to put themselves back in a position to get into a home. They've just had a very bad run of luck, right? And they're going to look to use certain facilities and things that are there and available for them, right, and services. Then you've got people that they're insane. They're out there. You're not going to be able to fix them mentally. They just are no longer there. Then you've got people who are drug addicts who have mental issues as well. And what came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it the drugs or was it the mental issues that brought the drugs, trying to self-medicate? You could discuss that all day as well. But then there's that crime element. And then you've got people like this guy who, quite frankly, to me, this is a lifestyle choice. I see him, right? See some hippies. They got their dogs. They got the big knapsack. They're not really interested in enjoying the day-to-day grind of life the way that the average person does. What they want to do is just kind of live off the grid and hang out and, smoke a little weed and party a little bit and hang out with their dog. But this guy, listen to what he has to say here about work.
Chad drove a forklift for 5 years, but says now he feels stuck. He has no idea what he wants to do.
I know I don't want to do this for my whole life, of course.
He says that next job has to be something he wants to do for the rest of his life.
That next job, right? Just what is he's holding? It sounds like he's holding out for some middle management position. Why we can't have nice things?
He won't take a job that he doesn't like or will get bored with and end up quitting.
I don't want to hop around from a convenience store to a fast food, a different job every 6 months.
Blair says he doesn't want anything bad to happen. He just wants Chad to get a job.
Yeah. Get a job. Well, I don't really want to do that job. It's just not my thing. Because he's probably making a couple $100 a day, $150 a day. Why would you go to work at a convenience store if you're going to make $9, $10, $11 an hour, $12 an hour, depends on where you are in the country, right? And you're going to get paid every 2 weeks. You're going to get taxed on it. Right? Even if you're working full time, maybe you're taking home $1,500 a month, right? Same thing at a fast food restaurant. Even though you should be looking to better yourself, right? That shouldn't be, I don't want to go to the next job nearly needs a stick. When you can stand outside with your dog, plead for help, and make $150, $200 a day cash, why would you want to get a regular job? It's insane. And just listening to that, it just, oh, my God. No wonder people are pissed. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. Trump supposedly is going to make some sort of an announcement about the thing that used to be a crisis/emergency.
No place in the world has what we have in terms of ridiculous immigration laws. So I will be making a major statement. I would say my biggest statement on the border probably today or tomorrow. Thanks.
I'm trying to figure out what it is. Do you think he's sending troops? Right? He says he's not going to close the border. So what is he going to do? And they're getting ready to close up a big trade deal with Canada and Mexico. Could be the biggest in our history. So what then? Like, that's interesting. Like, what's next? It's got to be troops. It absolutely, I would say it'd have to be troops at this point in time. You got to say, and really? Yeah, I would think so. I would think it'd have to be troops they're sending there. Remember how big this was like 6-8 weeks ago? It's still a problem. Every day you're reading about how many people are coming across in Yuma and Tucson and you know, in McAllen, Texas and all across, you know, and down in California, in, you know, you name it, they're coming across. And it's not changing at all. But nothing's, once again, we're at a point where, you know, he's right. Our laws are ridiculous. And they're you know, good intentions maybe, but we're getting bit in the ass and nothing's getting done, right? And he told Nancy Pelosi, look, you're either going to, you know, we're either going to do some, you know, some real stuff here or you're going to investigate. We're not doing both. So, frustrating as hell. It is. They're still coming over in droves, right? We're still debating on what we should or shouldn't do. Nothing is getting close to being done. I just sit back and think to myself, is this what we're going to have all the way till next year? And if he wins again, which is highly likely, he's in the driver's seat at this point in time, right? He wins again, and let's just say that, you know, we're in the same position where they've got the House, but the Republicans magically hold on to the Senate. What's that 4 years going to look like? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us so much still to try to squeeze in. I was so pissed at that guy. I want my next job to be like the best job ever. Frustrating is that. I often, because you got to think to yourself, like, what do you think he pulls down a day? In like probably 4 or 5 hours. I've often wanted to go stand somewhere just to see. I know a guy in New York did it a couple months ago, and he said in like 90 minutes he got like $200. And he gave the money to charity, but he was a reporter, I think, for the Times or something like that. And I've often said to myself, we should do this one day just to see how much we can get. And if you ever pulled up to you pull up and you see that person and they start kind of crouching down and you don't want to make eye contact with them, you're like, oh God. Cause you know, it's like, I don't want to, you know, You know they've gone too far when they've got that little Square thing. They're like, I don't carry change. Oh, don't worry, I got Square on my phone. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. We're asking the question, is it time for the Democrats to actually put up and go for it with impeachment? Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. It's on the old Twitter there as well. Hey, guys, we're terrible at doing a lot of things. You know this. Please. Terrible at housework. Terrible at taking care of ourselves. 70% of men out there, guess what? You have a problem in the bedroom with ED, and you're not going to go get it checked out. We just ignore it. Right? Just, no, not me. No, we're fine. We're fine. And part of it's because of the ego, and you don't want to go into the room, and you don't want to talk to the pharmacist and the doctor and all that stuff. Well, Roman has made it so easy. It's a one-stop shop, licensed U.S. physician. You can get diagnosed with ED, and you have the medication delivered straight to your door. Unmarked packaging, discreet. It's never been easier. So simple. And there's a free online visit right now. Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. Complete a dynamic online visit. Then you're going to chat with the doctor. And if the doctor says, yeah, let's do this, they're going to send you the medication directly to your door. You don't have to go to the pharmacy. No awkward waiting rooms and face-to-face. It's all done discreetly online. Get your free online visit right now Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. That's GetRoman.com/Benson for your free online visit. GetRoman.com/Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Federal prosecutors pushed for 17 years in prison, but a judge gave Vicente Zambada Niebla 15 years. The former chief of logistics for the Sinaloa cartel provided the government crucial information about the organized crime unit, including testimony in New York that led to the conviction of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. He even gave testimony against his own father, who also worked for the cartel. Zambada Niebla has already spent a decade behind bars and will get time served, freeing him in a matter of years. Once he is released, he'll likely be put into witness protection.
First of all, you get a title like logistics? Do you get like a pension, 401k? Is there benefits, like health benefits? Secondly, there's nowhere on earth that you're going to be able to hide. I don't care how deep they think they're going to stick you. Could you imagine? So you just testified and put the man of the Sinaloa cartel, arguably the second biggest drug dealer of all time, behind Pablo Escobar, who stands on a mountain of cocaine that nobody else is anywhere near, but who is just, as brutal. And you think that I'm going to put me in witness protection. And you're not. How do you even live a normal life after that? How do you sleep? How do you do anything? They're coming for you. They're just waiting. They're biding your time. My God, Whitey Bulger moved across country to another prison, and he was dead within hours, and that guy hadn't been relevant in forever. He was killed by people who weren't even alive when he committed his crimes and made a name for himself because they wanted to make a name for themselves. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. Many of you are texting in because we were talking about the homeless people and, do you give money? Do you not give money? Now, Phil, you did not dress the part, that is part of it. To me, it's a whole, you got to have it all done up. But you said you got $3 and a bunch of chips and some water. How long were you there?
A lot of water, yeah. Maybe it was the Gucci shirt I was wearing. I don't know.
Gucci. Does it drive you? It drives me crazy, dude, when they have dogs, especially when it's really hot. I hate that. I'm like, why are you doing that to the dog? Like, what'd that dog do to you? Well, it's about companionship. I get it, right? But that dog doesn't want to be outside with you. One time, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit of a Richard here. But looking at it now, knowing what I know, I was younger. I pulled up to a stop sign, and I was eating a French fry. There was a guy, he's got his sign out, and they all say they're vets. And he's homeless, and he's got a dog there. And I'm biting into the French fry, and I look at the dog, and I just fling the French fry at the dog, and he's all... I thought, oh, you're such a jerk, Chad. No, I don't think I'm a jerk. I can't give money to those people because I just don't trust. And the people who need the help, right? The people that genuinely need the help, they're not asking for money. They're not. They're not asking for any kind of money because they're not there, right? They're not in, they're just not there. Saw a guy come out of McDonald's the other day, and he and the trash can were in a very deep conversation. That guy's not asking for money. I see him wandering aimlessly, but he's never asking for money. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Here's your useless fact of the day. Love giving these to you. Oxymoron. That word is in itself an oxymoron. Derived from the Greek word oxy, which means sharp, and moros, which means stupid. Text the program 323-538-2423. Love hearing from you. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Take the poll about impeachment on the Twitter poll. Have yourself a good rest of your day. I see Friday. It's there. Night, Jack.
This is The Chad Benson Show.